Hi, I'm Yoam. Today I'm going to talk about how to keep people motivated. As a manager, there's a fine line between making sure your team is productive, motivated, and happy. The ultimate goal, of course, is to have all three of them at the same time. However, in reality, it can be really challenging to get all three, especially when you're managing larger teams and when stress is involved. Now, the challenge is that, as I've stated many times before, humans are a very complicated animal, and what might keep one person motivated might not work for someone else. If you've watched my videos before, you know that I like to use the sports team analogy, where you as a manager, you're basically the coach of a team, and your goal is to win championships. The idea here is that at day's end, you should evaluate and incentivize performance just as if you were managing a professional sports team. The problem is that I've seen managers that take this analogy way too far, and they start treating their employees as pawns in a game. And that leads to the exact opposite outcome. People become jaded and less interested in doing anything beyond what they are paid to. Now, don't get me wrong, real sports teams are transactional in nature. You get paid a lot of money to perform at your peak. However, they are not just about monetary transactions. A great coach knows that to keep their players at their peak performance, you need to do much more than just pay them as much as you can. Otherwise, everyone would be able to win championships just by throwing as much money as they can at their players. And we all know for a fact that many highly paid teams do not win. So the question is, how do you keep your people motivated? To me, the core principle is to start by accepting people for who they are and working up from there. You're probably not going to change the core personality of anyone you're managing. By the time they get to you, they are usually a fully formed adult, and as amazing as a manager that you might be, it is very unlikely that they're going to change who they are just for your sake. By accepting people for who they are, you start from a much more realistic baseline that allows you as a manager to better understand and effectively motivate people. If someone you're managing is always late to stand-ups because they are the kind of person that goes to bed at 2 a.m., telling them that the company is going to serve breakfast tacos from 8 to 10 a.m. is not really going to significantly change their time preferences. Trust me, I've tried it. It's cool, but it doesn't work long-term. What does work is to tailor your incentives to what people really care about. Yes, listen, everyone cares about money. That is a fact. People come to work to make a living. And as a manager, you must make sure that people who work for you are paid a fair and equitable salary. There's not enough tacos in the world to motivate someone who is underpaid. When I take a new team, I always do a salary check to make sure everyone who works for me is paid correctly. I don't need them to come to me telling me they found a new job and that they can make 30% more at a competitor's. I'm not going to keep a highly paid low performer, but I also have to make sure people who work for me are paid the right amount. The harder thing to do, beyond just making sure people are getting paid well, is to get to know your people in a more intimate way that will allow you to better understand and accept them. So now you know what incentives will work best to keep them motivated. I always like to start with the one-on-ones. I never make them about status updates. I make them about getting to know each other. The one-on-one is a time where we can chat in a more informal way, in a more natural way, so we get to better understand what your expectations are, what your talents are, and most importantly, how do you view the world around you. The more time you spend with people having these types of conversations, the more you start realizing what it is that they truly care about. The next thing you need to do is to make sure you provide clarity and consistency with your own expectations. As a leader, people look up to you. And in order to keep them motivated, they need to know what to expect from you. And most importantly, that you are consistent in how you act and react. It is really hard to be motivated when you work for someone who is all over the place. Remember, at day's end, your employees, they want you to like them. They want you to appreciate them, and they want your praise. And if you are unpredictable, it is very hard for them to know how to get it. Therefore, whatever system of evaluation you personally use. And yes, it is a very personal interpretation. I don't care what the company policy is, you are going to have your own interpretation of it. But be sure to clearly define what it means for you and be consistent about it. People will notice right away if you start selectively enforcing your standards and treating people differently for the same actions. I totally understand that we are all people and we like some people more than others. But if you start treating people and evaluating people in a different way, trust me, everybody will know and they will stop believing you. Last but not least, you need to be open to experimentation. This is why keeping people motivated and productive can be a little bit challenging. Our innate tendency is to want to use what works for us on everyone we manage and make quick mental shortcuts by grouping people into easy and familiar types. So you'll see somebody who is an introvert and you say, oh, they'll never want to manage people because they're an introvert. Or the opposite, you see an extrovert and you say, oh, this person definitely wants to become a manager. And that's not true. What I do is to try different incentives with different people, but at a moderate step, so that we can both experiment without making these huge commitments. So for example, I'll say, instead of promoting you right to a management position, how about you lead a feature and you try and see if you like it, if this is something that makes you happy. And these small, relatively riskless experimentations, they allow me to get to know people better, but it really makes them know themselves better and what actually makes them motivated rather than the notion they have in their head, which unfortunately can sometimes be completely wrong. I have personal close friends who got the huge salary raise, really, and they were happy for about a week just to realize that they still have the same job that they don't like and the same manager that they can't stand. So sometimes it's not just what you have in your head, it's also what reality is. I hope this helps. Don't forget to like, comment, and share to spread the word. See you next time. Bye.